So, what can an NFL linebacker teach you about weight loss? Stay tuned to find out. Today, I'm here with NFL linebacker Coney. Tevon also played linebacker at Notre Dame, which is a school I also graduated from. So we are both alumni. Go Irish. Tevon also has a foundation called Tough Choices that helps local youth by providing them with the essential tools to be successful in and outside of school. So Tevon, you've never been fat before, correct?
Not been.
Right. Yes, must be nice. So I'm guessing when you were younger, you were either slim or skinny. And then as you progress playing football, you got muscular, lifting weights, that sort of thing. That about right?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Growing up, I was always kind of skinny, but I always had like build. Like my shoulders were already kind of wide. I had like decent height, so I wasn't like taller than everybody, but I wasn't like one of the shortest. So I had like, a decent size kind of growing up through elementary middle school.
Yeah.
And in high school, I started to grow a lot. Got to about like 6 foot. And I was still actually pretty like light my freshman and sophomore year. I was only about 175, 185 because at that time I was playing on offense.
Right.
But then I switched over and I started playing defense.
Yeah.
And that's when my coach was like, hey, you got to start, putting on muscle.
Right.
You're going to be so my coach, he was like, man, you got to put some weight on.
Right.
You got to get bigger to, play linebacker now. And this time I'm probably like 175, 180, like I said. And I'm like, man, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So my first instinct, and at this time I didn't work out much. I wasn't, it was more just natural and genetics.
Right.
And so I got to start getting into the weight room, start lifting a lot of weight. I was running a lot. And out of nowhere, like it took me about 6 months. I just like got huge out of nowhere. I jumped up to about 215. But the most weirdest thing ever that a lot of my trainers had said was that, man, a lot of people that make that type of like weight gain that goes from about 175 to 220 in that short span of time usually gains a lot of fat.
Yes,
but for me, it was like I naturally somehow just gained a lot of muscle. Like I got so much bigger, and thank God I didn't get much fatter. But I think it was more of just like the idea of like lifting and the way we train and running. That I kept a good balance, and I think that's what gave me, along with genetics, obviously gave me a better chance of keeping that slim figure.
Yes,
but obviously putting the muscle mass on to be able to, play that position. So I mean, I had a good balance that everything working out for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, because it's definitely, I mean, you don't want to pretend like you're not an elite athlete. You're an elite athlete. So elite athletes can do things normal people can't do. Like normal people can't put on 30 pounds, 40 pounds like that, and it's all big muscle. But the concepts, a normal person will just take longer, but they're still doing the same concepts. They're lifting heavy things.
The concept is the same.
Exactly. They're running, because, I don't want people to use an excuse. He did that, but I can't do that. No, you just can't do it in 3 months. Maybe it takes you 3 years, 1 year, or whatever. But you too can become muscular, right? When I went from fat to this, it didn't happen in 3 months for sure. It took like a year and a half or so, right? So, but it definitely can exist. So this is going to be somewhat of a unique interview, which already started, because I think you can help people who struggle with weight by discussing all the things you've done consciously or unconsciously or accidental, or because you've been in a structured training / organized sport environment, so to speak. I think that can really help, because for most of your life, you have a body that most men would love to have and most women would love their guy to have. So I feel as if I'm using that line from James Bond where they're like, most men want to be him and most women want to be with him. So I think I will cover 4 main topics, plus anything else you think can help the viewers of the video. Workouts, you kind of touched on that a bit. Nutrition, what you eat, how you eat, recovery. I think that's something most people don't think about, but that's how you and I met. And supplements, which is what people always love, looking for a magic pill, magic potion, or what have you. So let's start with the workouts. In general, obviously you lift weights and you run, but I guess what's a typical workout type routine for somebody like yourself?
I'll get up in the morning. Obviously, the important thing that trainers and nutrition always tell you that I actually struggle with. So I'm saying this as in some personally me. I'm still that, but getting the breakfast in. I like to usually work out and then eat my breakfast. But
Okay.
as they put the meal plans together, you see that you have to eat something that morning
Yes.
to get carbs to be able to burn that off to have energy.
Yes. Yep.
Getting that breakfast in the morning and then heading to the gym gives me energy right away to hit the weights. I know
get the amino acids in too.
Sometimes for people, and that's why I love working out, because everyone who's watching and people who want to get weight gain or weight loss.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is that it's so unique to just them. And so you take the concept of what people have done and you tailor it to what works best for me and what my goals are. So for me, it was always putting on mass and trying to stay lean and keeping my speed. So I will go to the gym first and I'll make sure I have the energy. I'll go in there and lift weights. So my main thing would be, benching, which will, keep the shoulders strong, strong chest. And then I'll get into, some individual exercises like shoulder presses, shoulder raises, different things like that to, build that muscle, to make those bigger muscles around our shoulders, particularly for my position. Tackling, you got to have, strong shoulders. So doing little stability workouts like that was huge for me. Butterflies, different exercises like that. Then get into more of like, lower body, squats, and cleans, deadlifts are huge, for me for power, someone that wants to, have that physique in their legs and not just be big. Those are the muscles going to kind of exercise, going to kind of keep your muscles like tight more. So those are always big for me to, stay up on, where I'm doing those once or twice a week. Those smaller exercises like, lunges, split squats, box jumps are huge, especially when you lose weight. Explosiveness is going to burn those calories, so getting that body moving in the gym is also huge when you want to lose weight. A lot of people go in the gym and just lift, but it's like if you want to burn weight and you don't run a lot, you have to find ways to be, moving around in the gym while you're doing exercises. So whether those are full body burpees, body weight pull-ups, or you're a little bit stronger, you're able to add some weight for resistance. So doing those resistant exercises, those power exercises such as bench, squat, deadlift are huge, just for that power and that strength, which everyone wants to always build, no matter whether you're losing weight or gaining weight, you'll be able to make sure you're getting stronger, make sure you're keeping that muscle physique. So even someone that's 280 want to go down to, let's say, 240, 230, you still want to make sure your muscle and everything is tight, even though you're slimming down your legs, your calves, your sides, different ways. You're going to have to burn fat.
So you said a couple of things there that I want to touch on. You talked about breakfast, you talk about the big power movements, and you talked about keeping it moving. So with breakfast, you mentioned something pretty good there, where having the food in your stomach before you work out. Because a lot of people make the mistake of just going to work out. I remember one of my coaches saying the two most important meals of the day was the pre-workout meal and the post-workout meal. And I can feel the difference if I just go lift weights or run or whatever, and I didn't have that pre-workout meal. I didn't have the energy with the carbs. I didn't have all those amino acids with muscles. Yeah, I can work out, but it's clearly a difference that you appreciate now, especially you work out way more than most normal people. So you even, because now I remember part of the thing you said too, people with elite genetics can get away with craziness. Like you guys can eat terribly and still perform better than most people. But when you add the right, because you said you struggle with it because, you look fabulous, I'm sure, whether you eat breakfast or not. You can do things most people can't do, whether you eat breakfast or not. But even with your elite genetics, you feel the difference by eating breakfast. A lot of my clients I speak to, it's frequent they skip breakfast and they go straight to lunch and they just hardly eat food. They don't eat food. They weigh more than me and they eat like a fraction of the food I eat. Most people probably shocked how much thousands of calories you eat in a day. Quite a lot, I'm sure.
No, for sure.
Talk about the power movements. I remember figuring out sometime, if you can bend down and pick something heavy out the floor, like I can deadlift 400 pounds or squat 315, it's impossible to have little arms, little anything. What I mean? You build that power, you must have strong everything, strong core, strong legs, strong back, blah, 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 blah. So you hit the nail on the head there. And then you talked about keeping it moving, because I remember that was a mistake I did when I lost 65 pounds and then I got fat again, is that when I was lifting to try to get strong, I stopped moving. So I put on muscle but a ton of fat with it. And then I got to 230 and it was a mess.
Have to keep moving.
You have to keep moving. So it's funny you said that, because I guess the nature of just playing football, you have to run, plus you have to train to run. So, and you said you lift first and then you ran, right? Which is the correct way from what I understand it being done anyway. Lift first. You can always run after lifting weights, but it's hard to lift after running or you lift effectively after running. Okay.
Exactly.
So this is one of my big takeaways so far that I hadn't thought of before. Even elite athletes still have to follow the rules. You guys have more leeway than us regular people, but even for somebody like yourself, when you do the right thing, you still see the benefits of it. You know,
exactly.
So that's funny. Interesting. So what's your diet like? Like, for example, do you track calories? Do you have to track macronutrients, or you just need to eat a ton of food?
For me, I'm like a simple guy, so I keep it simple. Some people, like I say, is always tailored to them, so they can get more complex. I got, friends who count all the calories and how much they're intaking, how much they got like a band that tell them how much they're losing, Apple Watches and different stuff like that. So if that works for people, go for it. But me personally, I'm all about just burning more than I'm eating if I want to lose weight.
Right.
And then if I want to gain weight, it's just making sure that I eat more than I burn, while knowing that I'm doing the exercise I need to, stay down and kind of gain the proper weight. So,
got it.
That's kind of a simple way for me, is just making sure I'm burning more than I eat if I want to lose weight. And if I want to gain weight, making sure that I eat more than I burn. And, that's something for me that has just worked, and I've just kept that philosophy for me personally.
Okay. Yeah. So you're kind of describing, I guess, what they're called intuitive eating, where I can do that now. I know I couldn't do that before because I was one of those people where I would eat too much or eat too little. But I'm guessing over the years, like you pretty much said, you can tell when you need to eat more, or you can tell I've ate too much. And I think if most people really pay attention to how their stomach feels, when they're, did I run a lot this week? Did I lift a lot this week? Okay. My appetite is down a bit. I probably shouldn't be pounding those desserts. Whereas, maybe I'm working more intense. I can, have a little leeway with the dessert. I can see how my pants fit the scale. I'm guessing you're saying something along these lines. Sounds like that way.
No, exactly. That's okay. Perfect.
Gotcha. Okay. So for recovery, how important, this may sound like a stupid question, but how important is recovery for you? I mean, the nature of the sport you play, or any sport for that matter, you need recovery. And yes, I know it's a physically brutal sport, but putting that aside, like just recovery in the sense of you've been able to work out or feel good, have energy, have good quality of life, etc. How important is recovery to you?
For me, recovery is just as much important as working out. That's another part of your workout. So when you finish working out, your recovery is getting some fluids in you, getting a shake in you, or some protein shake, something that is going to give you back that replenish, give you back your carbs, and basically feed the muscle.
Yes,
that's basically the best way to put it. So recovery is huge, and that's like the one aspect of it, and then also getting rest. I know people always say that's pretty cliche, but yes, the body is really a temple, and it needs it's time where it's laying down, it's resting to be able to build on what you've done to break it down to be better. So I think overall, the most important thing is just making sure you're getting rest, making sure you're getting your fluids back in you, getting your protein in you, the pills, if that's people route to go. That's a part of recovery. That's just more important. I think if you're doing one part of it, which is going to the gym every day, but not running, then you're defeating the purpose. If you're going to run, working out, but not getting any rest or not putting the fluids in your body, you're defeating the purpose. So I think they all go together and just as important as each other.
Yeah, I like the way you said the thing with the whole your body's a temple, because I know personally I used to make that mistake, go work out, do all these things right, and not sleep. But I remember having this epiphany when I think I read somewhere, or I think it was this farmer, Mr. Olympia, he was like, the muscles don't grow in the gym. They grow after you leave the gym. Absolutely. When you go recover and rest. And again, I keep coming back to this point. If an elite athlete needs to rest, because I remember when I was doing triathlons, some of these athletes, probably yourself sometimes, because it's a full-time job for you, can sleep 9-10 hours in a day. Or you might even take naps in the day. So how can a normal person think they can get away with 5 hours, 6 hours of sleep? But the average person is literally getting 5-6 hours of sleep, and they're working out. They're burning the candle at both ends, and eventually something will give, in a bad way. You know what I mean? So, and I know sometimes when you don't get enough sleep, there's this hormone, ghrelin, the hunger hormone. It kicks in, and it makes you essentially more likely to go want carby stuff like sugary things, just because you had a bad night's sleep. It's kind of like this stressor to the body, essentially. So I'm glad you talked about it. And you mentioned protein shake and the carbs. That's another thing. You see a lot of guys, and some saying they will work out and they do nothing afterwards. They'll go hours and hours without eating. Now, the science says you don't have to eat immediately afterwards, but from a practical point of view, you need to get enough calories in. So if
at least an hour.
Yeah, if you finish your workout at, say, 7 p.m., you worked 7 p.m., and you eat dinner, that's fine. But if in the day you just had breakfast and lunch, and you're only eating 1,500 calories and you need 2,500, you can't get that in. So just logistically, especially for the typical person who has a 8 to 5 job, you need to be drinking that protein shake post-workout or having a meal to then have your second meal to get all these meals in. Because, I mean, again, I keep harping on this. Somebody like yourself, if you need to do this, then regular people need to do it too. unless I have some mutant
need to do it.
some mutant ability. You know what I mean? And you mentioned getting the fluids in. A lot of people don't drink enough water. Yep, I drink like a gallon a day. Yeah, a lot of you don't drink enough water, man. So that was pretty great. So now the other thing is for recovery. I mean, I actually met you at Boca Cryo, that cryo place. Most people have never heard of this thing, but it was a physical therapist who told me, hey, go there because I had all this inflammation and stuff. And that definitely helped me. And obviously I met you there. So using things like that, or I think you even had the compression boots that they offer there, like you had your own pair. How does using all these extra tools help you?
I mean, it's essential. Obviously, at the higher you go in level, or the more serious you are, about your craft. You add those extra components, which is going to a facility, or having a personal massage therapist, someone that's going to come to your house or whatever to do that extra therapy on you. So that's just another level of it. For someone that just want to get in shape and not as serious. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that level. Obviously, it costs money, and you're putting more time and money into that aspect. But overall, it just goes to show you the seriousness of how it can really get that everybody taking care of. I remember a couple of years ago when I was in college at this time. I found out LeBron James spent over $1 million every year on his body. And that time, I was the guy that didn't take recovery as serious as 2015. And I'm like, man, I can just play football and just, do whatever, get a little rest, and I'll be good. Yeah. But after hearing LeBron James spend $1 million on top of all the recovery he's doing regularly in the facility, he's spending an extra $1 million to make sure. It just it showed me that somebody at that level has to do that, and that's what my dreams are, to be at that level in my own industry. Right. I have to kind of find a way to increase my level of recovery, almost where I'm recovering harder than I'm actually even training, to make sure that I get my body back to it. So for me, it was even researching more, learning more, talking to different doctors, different people about, better ways to recover faster, better ways to not have as much weight fluctuation, because some days I was going from 225 to 231 and going back down to 226, and my body was just all over the place, and I wanted to be more stable, so I went to talk more in depth, and hey, how can my weight be more stable? What can I do in my diet to fluctuate? And there was, one thing was not eating as late, so I had to cut down and stop eating around like 10 instead of last. Sometimes I would get hungry whenever I would stay up a little later. I would eat a snack around 12:30, and that was one of the pieces where I had to cut back on to get that weight to, fluctuate the right weight, because I wake up in the morning. Because usually I wake up in the morning, I'll weigh myself sometimes, and I'll weigh it in the night. So that's another aspect as well that I did, where I was keeping track of my weight. So I'll know, okay, in the morning I'm usually this weight, at night towards 9 or 10 o'clock at night, I weigh myself after I got a shower. Hey, this is what I weigh now. So I'm figuring out, hey, did I get as much fluid? Because knowing the body, if you got a lot of fluid, a lot of water that day, you're
Yeah.
naturally going to be higher. That's what they call
Mhm.
water weight. You know,
Yeah,
a day
yeah.
where you're down and you probably didn't work out as hard, then
Yeah.
you'll probably be hydrated. You need
Mhm.
those fluids to get that weight
Yes.
back up, and they'll find its way. So I think just learning more about, like I said, your body, and then
Mhm.
just going more in depth on what you need to recover, is
Yep.
just huge when you want to see those results, especially in this short amount of time.
Right. No, that's brilliant. Yeah, it's funny you intuitively figured out the scale thing, because researching for another video, I found this study that clearly shows the people who use the scale more frequently, they're much more likely to stabilize the weight, keep it whatever they were trying to do.
Yeah,
And it makes
exactly.
sense. If you track it, you're more likely to have whatever the thing you're tracking is. Because I know I was told this, and maybe you too, like, oh, don't check the scale all the time. But no, if you don't check the scale all the time, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know
Yeah,
if you're going up
exactly.
or down.
You
It's
need
like you're
that data.
driving and you never look at the speedometer or something. At some point, you got to check your speed, right?
That's right. Exactly.
Oh man, yeah, that's funny. And you also pretty much said you essentially are trying to keep learning, which is another good thing you said. You know, like you realize you should always try to learn new things, because I think again when I met you in the craft thing, that was new to me as well. And I remember the first time I did it, I could feel the difference, because it was a massage therapist saying, "Man, you just have so much inflammation." He
Yeah.
recommended I try this, and I was like, "What the heck?" You know, to your point, because what I find is people don't realize how their body is not functioning properly in terms of whether it's inflammation or, you know, this leg doesn't bend the right way. They're just oblivious to this. Like, you know this, and I know this, when you have a professional person checking you and they say, well, Tevon, you know, when you squat, yeah, this is happening or that you can't tell. And then they manipulate something, whether it's a chiropractor or the physio guy, and
Exactly.
suddenly you feel magically better. It's the same with me, you know, like something is a tweak, something bothering me, and they're like, yeah, let's do this. And I think there are a lot of people that are just suffering and they don't even realize they're suffering. They're oblivious to this, basically. So you use these people, I've used these people, and they're definitely worth the money. That I can definitely
Absolutely. No, the money is definitely worth it. No
Yeah,
question.
you'll get it back. You'll get it back. So onto a thing I'm pretty interested in myself, the Tough Choices Foundation. I like it, the fact that, you know, you're a Notre Dame guy, you want to give back, and you have this foundation to help young people. Pretty much, I like the way you phrase it, not have them have any limitations on succeeding in school, whether you're giving away book bags, you know, with books, because some people literally don't have this kind of stuff, or probably even more importantly, guidance, because it's similar to losing weight. A lot of people don't know what they're doing. Worse, what they think is accurate is inaccurate. And I was just like that myself. Like I used to say, the two things that held me back person was ignorance and arrogance. I was ignorant, you know what the heck I was doing, and I was too arrogant, thinking I could just Google my way to figure it out, until I had professional coaching who showed me the errors of my ways, and then just doing more research as well. So tell me more about Tough Choices, why you wanted to start it, what it's doing, and where you hope to take it to, basically.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely it's something that is needed. That's no question about it. I think even more personal, it's something that, you know, I grew up, you know, in personally. So my dad started a foundation called Kids of Tomorrow when I was in about sixth grade, all the way throughout until like probably sometime throughout high school. So, you know, yearly we'll do different things for Christmas, and it gave me an idea to even know that, okay, every kid is not as fortunate. Every kid doesn't have the leeway to have all these gifts for Christmas, gifts throughout the year. And so when I learned that at a younger age, it made me more, you know, obviously thankful for the things that my parents gave me, but made me even more hungry to one day provide for people that didn't have it all, you know. So, you know, being able to be in the situation and blessed to be in the status I am now, it was a no-brainer for me to start a Kids Foundation to find a way to give back in the little part I can do, you know. So Tough Choices was you know, something that came from my heart that I wanted to do. And obviously it was no better place for me to start it back in my hometown, West Palm, where, you know, I know a lot of kids reach out to me trying to understand what it is can I do to be a professional, and not even just sports, but to go to college, to get a degree, to get a job, to build a career, a sustainable career for their lifestyle and for their future family. So it's just overall, it's just so motivating. I think for me, like you say, what's next is always going to be that revolver door for even me learning how to continue to run my foundation, learning what it is that the kids need to keep that structure to keep that motivation for them to want to be their best. And even learning what are the deficiencies that are going on in these areas. So, you know, one thing I learned when I first got into it was hunger. You know, I didn't realize how many kids go hungry daily. And that was just very alarming for me. So when people think about, you know, materialistic things, I sit back and say, man, this kids is literally going hungry in 2021. That's a problem. So for me, it pushed me to build something much bigger than myself to be able to give back to kids like that, to be able to make sure that they know someone cares. And if you just keep trying, you'll find your way. And I think that overall, when you keep that motivation, it helps me personally. It helps me in my career to want to keep chasing my dreams. So I think it goes all together to have a foundation where you're motivating kids, then the kids even motivating you to be your best and challenging you to be better than where you are right now. So I think it just go hand in hand. It's just something that I'm blessed to have, something that I'm blessed to be able to be a part of. And you know, I'm just going to keep pushing and make a difference in the community to make sure kids are not going without.
Gotcha. No, that's a great mission to have. And I hope you definitely keep building the foundation. Because I think a lot of people who just heard what you said would be shocked to find out that their kids that go hungry in 2021 in a first world country that are in school. They're probably shocked to find that out. You know, I'm sure it's one of those things where, of all the things you said, I'm sure that's probably the most shocking to somebody watching this video, you know. So onto the last section, which people are usually considered the sexiest spot, about supplements, because people are always looking for the magic pill or magic potion. So what supplements do you personally use, and what would you recommend that people, whether it is them trying to maintain their weight, lose weight, or as a bonus, help them put on muscle mass?
Man, this might be a bummer, but I've never been into supplements. I am a fan of them for people, like I say, because I love workouts. I love how working out is so tailored to anybody and everybody who wants to embrace the role of that journey of, you know, bettering their self. So, but I would say, you know, going to GNC, they have a lot of products, obviously, on Amazon. I took a rebuild mass a lot in high school and college. That was big for me to gain a lot of weight. So if I wanted to gain a lot of weight, I had milk and went to powder and was chugging 2 to 3 a day, and basically had it as like a meal replacement sometimes if I couldn't eat. Plus counted 1 as a snack. So I was allowed to technically take at least 2 if I replaced the meal, and then considered one of the shakes as a snack, because I knew that each shake had about almost 1,000 calories in there. So I knew if I took 2, I was already at 2,000 calories without even getting any food yet. So that was even their limit for me. So when I'm trying to gain weight, is finding that protein, which is whey protein, which is really good. And measuring, obviously, how much your stomach can take, you know. And it's not an idea, I tell a lot of people, it's not an idea about getting protein or any type of supplement and then overtaking it and not let your body be able to understand what it is that you're taking. So, you know, whey protein, rebuild mass, are 2 really good proteins to gain weight. I haven't personally never been able to take pills because that's against the rules.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's against the rules for NCAA and NFL. So I've never been able to personally take pills, but creatine, different things like that. But like I say, just, you know, my advice overall, just as being in this industry, is just to, you know, be safe with what you take. There are good products out there that you can take that will give you the results. But like I say, taking the product but not working out as consistent won't give you results. Taking the product, working out, but not getting sleep won't give you results. So, you know, as we talk through each different aspect, they all are just important. And you making sure that you find a supplement that goes with what you're doing, you know. So I think just overall, I know some people that like working out in the morning, you know, so getting in these janks with a lot of caffeine, help them get going in the morning, help them burn more calories, burn more fat. So that's a cheat is that someone working out in the morning, they take some caffeine in there, get their energy going, then they get them to get more active in the gym, which will turn into, you know, more calories being burnt in the morning. And as we know, when you work out, you still burn a few hours after workout. So
Correct.
That's a cheat sheet for people that work out at night. I mean, in the morning.
In the morning.
I don't go too safe about it at night, with caffeine, because
it messes with your
go to
sleep.
work in the morning.
Exactly.
So that's just a cheat sheet for a lot of people that's like early birds. But no, overall, just finding something that, like I say, some type of protein and not overdoing it. Making sure you get the right scoops, to not be bloated, but making sure you get enough,
Gotcha.
So very flexible. Like I say, very tailored to anybody who want to enter the journey of getting themselves better. It just have to follow that routine and figure out what works best for them.
Gotcha. So although you say it's a bummer, I'm glad you still started that way, because the fact is there is no magic pill. There's no magic potion. They're called supplements for a reason. They supplement.
Right.
If you don't lift the weights, if you don't eat properly, if you don't sleep, then it doesn't matter what supplements you take. You could have the best supplements on the planet. You could have your personal doctor. It does not matter. That is secondary. And you also mentioned the caffeine, because that's something I forget about. A lot of people don't realize caffeine is a great fat burner. It's in pretty much every fat burning supplement. At one time, it was even banned by the International Olympic Committee. It wasn't allowed. Funny enough, caffeine.
Really?
Yeah. There's so many studies on its effectiveness for producing energy, burning fat for sure. It's been around for centuries, caffeine and coffee. And a good tip you gave was the meal replacements, because I find a lot of people they don't eat enough food.
Yeah.
They don't eat enough food. Okay, you mentioned 2 of these things are 2,000 calories, the ones you were taking, right? So, and then you're eating food on top of that. Because I mentioned earlier, most people probably shocked how much food you eat. I weigh 195, I eat like 3,000 calories a day. You probably eat even more than that. Most people are surprised how much food they need to eat. Like, I rarely meet somebody needs to lose weight who's eating enough food. It's counterintuitive. It takes a while to wrap their brain around it. Like that lady I helped lose 30 pounds, I increased her calories like 60%. And she started losing even more weight. It's very counterintuitive, People think starving is the way to go. Starving is not the way to go. Your body will just start conserving fat, shedding muscle, and shutting down your metabolism. It doesn't really work, but when you're this high, people drilled into your head, if you eat a lot, you get fat, which is true. But if you don't eat enough, you will also get fat. It almost sounds like a contradictory advice, but yeah. So you gave some good tips there, I thought, to be honest. And also, you eat real food. You eat solid food. That's another mistake. I think people, they don't realize the importance of eating real food. You know what I mean? Athletes eat real food, a lot of it. You probably eat a ton of meat, a ton of lots of other things. When I've seen videos of you guys eating, you guys are like devouring food, basically. So it's like I joke people, you have to use the knife and fork to defeat the plate. As in, you got to eat that food, man. So, but, thanks a lot for the words of wisdom. You gave some really good tips here, and I'm glad I started taking notes as well, because you're saying so many good things. I couldn't keep track of them in my head. So I'm pretty sure this is going to help a lot of people, because it's not your typical interview where you're interviewing somebody who's never had a particular problem, this being a weight problem, how to advise people it's like somebody who's always on time telling people are always late. Well, these are things I do. I get up early, I have my things arranged. So the person who's always late can follow that person to get them to where they're trying to get to. That was my thinking, when you told me when we met, I've never been fat. I was like, man, that'd be a great way to interview this guy. He's never been me. He's never been most other people, because like 2/3 of the population in the US is fat or at least overweight. Exactly. Yeah. So, and I've had that personal problem myself. So I know the struggle is real, So again, thanks a lot for taking time out of your very busy day. In another way, I know you like to help people. I guarantee you this will help a lot of people, because a lot of people, they just truly don't know, they're really, they're trying, they put in the effort in the gym. I was one of them, but it's like they're trying to chop down a tree with a sledgehammer. They're whacking the hell out of the tree, but
knowledge is key.
Knowledge is key, man. Knowledge is key. Ignorance is not bliss, as I like to say. So, all right.